appropriate amount of time, and then we'll wake up the sleepers out there. And here we go, and the weather team is going to time you. I'd say that was about 5 seconds, and I'd say that was perfect. My man. Here we go. Speed of sound 761 miles an hour. That means it travels 1 mile in 5 seconds. The answer is 5 seconds. I don't think we've ever had exactly 5 seconds from a contestant. So, Eli, you set the record today. And for that, let's give you a bank so you can save up for college. A coin bank, Snowbird Coin Bank. Have a seat. Thank you, thank you. Good job. Awesome. Let me just quiz somebody. If it were 2 miles away, how long would it be? 10 seconds. Okay. It used to be 2 miles in this game. No one's ever close. So at least it's like, let's change it to 1 mile. And now it's perfect. All right. All right. Thank you for your participation. Now we're going to talk about tornadoes again. Paul touched on this, talked about how they're made. Now we're going to talk about tornadoes in Middle Tennessee because we've had a whole bunch, and they can be ugly. We start with when they happen typically, and typically that's the peak season, March, April, and May. So quite obviously we're not in that time of year. Most often time of day is late afternoon and early evening, but they can happen on Paul's show, and they certainly have happened on Paul's morning show. They can happen in September or October. We're in October now. September typically has the fewest, but then it starts to ramp up. October has a couple more. November has a secondary peak. In fact, after springtime, November ranks second. So the secondary peak of severe weather season is coming up in just a few weeks. And so that's why we're here tonight. They have been big and bad in Middle Tennessee. We start with the bad ones, or the big ones, whatever you like. And 49 fatalities. 49 people have lost their life since 2000. I counted up this side of the room when I was up there before. There are 49 people sitting on the right side of the room. Visually, that's how many people in Middle Tennessee have been killed by tornadoes. That's way too many. Thankfully, none have been killed in 2013. However, someone did lose their life in January of this past year, January 30th, when he was sleeping in a shed and severe weather struck, straight line wind blew down a tree. The tree crushed him when he was in the shed, and he lost his life. We have had huge tornadoes. Back on Good Friday of 2009, 4 years ago, there was an EF4 in Murfreesboro, and then there was the quote-unquote forgotten F5 in Lawrence County back in 1998. People in Lawrence County, or Wayne County, it hit a few counties down there. A lot of them think we didn't get enough attention when that thing with over 200 miles an hour came through, but it struck in 1998, and it was the last F5 for this area. Where do we stand? Okay, here's a map of all the red dots that indicate where tornadoes have struck between 1950 and 2005. So if you and the family are about to pull up stakes and say, I'm sick and tired of Middle Tennessee severe weather, we're out of here. Let me help you plan your move. 3 options. Northern New England, you can go make maple syrup in Burlington, Vermont. The Appalachian Mountains in through here, you can go hang out in West Virginia. Or west of the Rockies. A lot of tornadoes are east of there, but not west of the Rockies. Very few. How have we done since 2000? Well, here they are. Here are the plots. Davidson and Rutherford counties have had the most, 18 and 20 respectively. Part of that is because of their size. Part of that is because of population density. Part of that is because of dumb luck. You know, the most have happened there. The fewest have happened in the east. You know, we get, this is like Clay, Pickett counties. Oh, we got Overton County, if you know anybody in Smith County around Carthage. 2 officially. You know, down toward the DeKalb County, over here, and over here, over there. I apologize. Who's here from Benton County? Like 2 of you? Please accept my apology. You folks are under the National Weather Service in Memphis, as opposed to Nashville, and I had every good intention to call the Weather Service office in Memphis between shows tonight, and it slipped my memory. But, oh, I'm sorry, Decatur County. Decatur County. Yeah, I got to play and name that county. Decatur County, pardon me, of course. So that's the bottom line. So I made every intention to call, and I just forgot. But my guess is you've probably had about 7 tornadoes since 2000. If you're interested in that number, shoot me an email, and I will send it to you. Okay, notice their paths. These red lines indicate the paths of storms, the paths of tornadoes between 1980 and 2006. A lot of them come in from the southwest. And notice what happened during this outbreak, the historic outbreak of this year. This was historic because, well, you see here, and all of those came in from the southwest. 22 confirmed tornadoes, one here in Humphreys County that you know about. It hit Hurricane Mills. Largest tornado outbreak in January in Middle Tennessee history. The old record was 12, so we blew that away. And in fact, because we had 22, even though it was in January, it was the second largest outbreak ever for the mid-state. Why it happened? I get this question a lot with tornado outbreaks. Record warmth. January, 3:18 in the morning, it was 73 degrees. Less than 2 full days later, 44 hours later, it was 17 degrees. So we had a really strong cold front coming through that acted like a snowplow and forced the atmosphere up and over. And it was very humid as well, which is critical for instability. Strong winds aloft. Paul talked about before you need very strong winds in the atmosphere that change direction with height for tornadoes to form, or at least for the worst ones, and that's what we had that night. Little Rock, Arkansas. This is a weather map I showed at 10 o'clock the night of the outbreak. So the storm started about 1 o'clock in the morning. 10 p.m. I'm on TV. I'm saying, this is what's happening tonight in Little Rock. Notice this, a mile above the ground. Winds are almost 80 miles an hour. This is very unusual. That whole environment is moving toward Middle Tennessee. When the environment reached us a half mile above the ground, winds were blowing at 80. I mean, that's ridiculous. So the atmosphere was primed and ready to go with instability and energy in the atmosphere for us to get tornadoes and damaging wind. Notice this, 3.5 miles up, winds were 160. You know, if you got on an airplane and were flying to New York City, you'd be there in record time. You'd have the tailwind of all tailwinds. Was it anticipated by the Storm Prediction Center, that little agency in Norman, Oklahoma that actually looks at severe weather all the time? You better believe it. Moderate threat of severe weather in Tennessee 2 days before, and the day before, western sections of Middle Tennessee, moderate threat. The rest of us, a slight threat. And then this is the map that I showed. Hey, watch out tonight. Winds are going to gust to 80. And we had a lot of 80-mile-an-hour winds. Unfortunately, we had 22 tornadoes as well. Here's the one that hit Hurricane Mills. It was an EF1. Winds at 100. Did some damage to Loretta Lynn's ranch. Snapped 500 trees. And you can see the path. It lifted at Highway 13. Lisa and I came up this today from I-40, and I was looking. We're both looking for damage, but I didn't see any signs at the highway there. But there's just some damage from there. Here's the radar signature. Lisa before talked about the hook, and you almost can't see the hook. It was almost invisible. And from the wide view, as I was on the radar that night, I mean, you needed a magnifying glass to see that hook echo that indicates where the tornado is. But you could see it with the wind part of the radar, the Doppler part. Lisa talked about this before. Bright green against bright red shows where rotation is, and that's where that tornado was. Coble and Hickman County had winds at, 130. That was the strongest tornado that night. Anybody here from Hickman County? Coble got hit very, very hard. You can see brick home was damaged. RV was flipped. Notice that hook. You guys are all meteorologists now. You see the hook echo there, and you can even see it from the wide view. Boom. And there's another one in Dixon County. We'll just show you a couple more storms. Here it is near Burns. Touchdown of a tornado. Nashville had 4 tornadoes that night. All of them around 80 miles an hour. One of these, the one that hit Englewood, where's that? Englewood, where are you? Englewood's on one of these things. I don't know. It's up here somewhere. But that's the same storm that hit Hurricane Mills. And then we had Mount Juliet, and this is a very frightening one. Mount Juliet got hit by a tornado that night. Look at this. Here we go. Was it McDonald's? There it is. All this debris. Can you imagine this hitting at 3 in the afternoon as moms have got their kids, they're going through the drive-thru to get some food before they go to the ballpark? You know, it would have been a disaster. It was bad enough with the damage. Nobody was killed. All the tornado touchdowns for the country that day, red. That was the worst tornado outbreak in 2013 for the entire country. God willing, we don't see anything like that for a long time to come. All right, Nancy's turn. Oh, almost. Speaking of Nancy, this is something she found about 5 years ago on the internet, software. It's awesome. We call it Forewarn 3D Storm Scan. We're the only television station in Middle Tennessee with it. and it shows you exactly where the funnel is, where that tornado would be. I mean, you can't miss it. And so when the weather's especially bad, we'll show this as well. Full warn 3D storm scan. Nancy's turn. Oh. Thank you. Also, and then I'm going to do the 10 live in Nashville, so I am out, and Paul needs his beauty sleep and a whole bunch of it, so he's out as well. So thank you for your attention, and now Nancy and Lisa take over.
He'll probably be dreaming